Welcome back, guys. It's your boy, Mr. G. Early in the morning. Gonna get a little ride in. And, this is Essential G. It's been a long time. I'm kind of off my game right now. Why am I rolling down the driveway to start the bike? I have no idea. There we go. There we go. So, time to go to work. And I thought I would get a little ride in because I haven't done this in a while. And if you saw my announcement, my update, I am doing bike and RV stuff. Here we go. The roads are wet. Not good. Getting all fogged up here. So, I think what I wanted to get to, whether I filmed on the road or filmed off my phone, was just bragging about this bike. I have noticed over time that there isn't a lot of bragging when it comes to the touring section of Harley Davidson. You hear a lot of bragging from all of the other companies that are trying to bust into the touring section of the United States, trying to get a piece of our market. And overall, if you combine them all, they've gotten a chunk of the market, but not the touring market. They all compare themselves to that other brand, and by the other brand, they're referring to Harley Davidson. You know, we have more trunk space, we have more low-end torque, you know, etc., etc. And so you got to ask yourself, what is Harley Davidson doing right that they are all comparing themselves to Harley? Now, if you scour YouTube, you will find some guys that are out there on these bikes. They don't typically brag about the bike, though. And so I started wondering, you know, is it just that they're too busy out riding? If you do a tour, I did like a 1,000-mile round trip last summer with my son. That's on the channel. And if you do a tour, what you'll basically see in the United States going by you is Harley Davidson, Harley Davidson, Harley Davidson, Harley Davidson, Harley Davidson, smaller Harley Davidson, Goldwing, Harley Davidson, Harley Davidson, Harley Davidson. So they're doing something right. You get out there and you'll see a lot of trikes. And yes, this is New Jersey. A lot of people don't know this. They think of Jersey, they think of North Jersey and outer New York. But actually, South Jersey is dense green and beautiful. So, you know, it got me wondering. And then I thought, I'll just brag about it myself, since I've actually toured on this thing now and used it for what it's supposed to be used for. I have somewhat of a clue. And I'm going to probably not brag about too much, but I will start by bragging about the engine. So, when I got out there and toured, because I am not a retired person, I have to tour in the summer months, so it's ridiculously hot. And, you know, you've got the engine on these bikes, these touring bikes that Harley makes. In particular, I have the 103 twin cam. It's just, you know, you get a reputation, I don't want something that doesn't accelerate and lopes around like that, but it's actually just perfect for what you would do on a touring bike. You know, taking a lot of back roads, and it just, you can see it now. It's just lopes. I'm at 50 miles per hour, 2200 RPMs, fifth gear, with that big flywheel, the weighted flywheel, and just effortless switching of gears. You mess up, you switch down, or you switch up too much, and there's so much spin on that thing that it just keeps pulling you. It doesn't care. And so it does that, and I thought, that might be a problem when I loaded this thing up. And put a person, put 100 pounds of gear and a 200-pound person on it, and maybe, loping around wouldn't work so well in low gears. The problems I had with that, mainly due to my height, but I took my son at one point in the trip to the top of Mount Washington in Pittsburgh. I wanted to show him the overlook. It was a little bit of a mistake. I took him instead to the absolute top, so we were in this little neighborhood. So if you don't know about that neighborhood, like, you're talking about a tiny little town built on the side of a mountain. So tiny streets that are really steep. You see bikes in people's driveways, but you don't see bikes this size. Well, I didn't think that through, and here I am with all this weight on a bike at the bottom of this hill, and I need to make a left turn, and I got to go uphill immediately, and I got all this weight on the bike. And let me tell you something, this bike just absolutely charged the hills in first and second gear. It was just absolutely amazing. There wasn't even the slightest hint of this is going to be too much, and make sure you negotiate this properly, which I was, of course, pleasantly surprised and exceptionally happy with. After a little bit of being in that town, I started realizing that I might have to worry about some stuff, but not that. The traffic there, they're very nice, by the way. A couple different cars just let me out. They understood what I was dealing with, because they've probably invited guests to come see them, family and stuff, that have had to deal with it. And the acceleration and whatnot it was just absolutely, I felt like the bike wanted me to do more of it, is what I'm trying to say. And that is an exceptional thing when you think about the fact that this bike is an 850-pound bike, and we were probably pulling 550 pounds worth of weight. I mean, it's just kind of crazy how well it did that. What are the problems with the engine? So you have full pants on. In the summer, you get hot, you roll up your pant leg or something to get the air blowing on you a little better. You have to really be careful if you're my height, because you might be at a light or something. You put one leg down and kind of lean on it, and if you touch this engine, I mean, it just keeps whatever it touches. Like, it just melts whatever it touches. This engine in particular just gets absolutely ridiculously hot. And this tour that we did, I don't think there was a single day that it wasn't over 90 degrees. So, we would pull in every hour and a half or so to some little place to take a break, and I'd have to deal with my height issue and the fact that I might accidentally just barely touch the engine. This engine is real happy when it's doing this, when it's got the air blowing on it. It's just in its element. But when you're doing this in 97 degree heat for 5 hours, 6 hours, the heat on this engine is absolutely insane. So that I think is a legitimate complaint. If you were 5'9", 10, 5'11", 6 foot tall, then I think you have different complaints. You need riding pegs and stuff so that you have enough leg room, but you wouldn't have the heat complaint about the engine because your legs basically never go near it. Mid-range, not a lot to discuss. You know, like other bikes, it'll get up and go in the mid-range. And you know, this thing, it's got a top out, what's it say, 5,500. I don't know. I think it will actually do that, but it's not what it's for, and it won't sound happy about it. And I normally shift at like 4,500 or lower. You just have to kind of know your engine. I know my engine by sound. I don't look at the shifts. And then the top end, I also was kind of surprised by that. I never have done, you know, 75, 80 miles per hour on my bike for multiple hours at a time in heavy traffic at times, going through Pennsylvania, up, down, left, right, trucks all around you. And so I was like wondering how it would do, because it, you know, it doesn't lope like this, which I thought was interesting. Once you get into 6th gear, you know, it sounds like what like a 4th gear would sound like right now if you're doing like, once you get around 75 miles per hour. You know the engine's working. You have passing power in 6th gear on this bike at highway speeds without having to downshift. I would just accelerate and pass whatever truck or, you know, was giving me a hassle or whatever. And I found that to be very, like, very interesting, because most of my time I'm doing what I'm doing right now, and I'm just loping along. And when this thing gets on the highway and it gets above like 65 miles per hour, it turns into, at those top ends, a machine that can handle just doing 75, 80 for a long period of time with actual acceleration, even though it's just a twin. The acceleration is there without even downshifting if you need it. And I thought that was really impressive. But it does take on a different sound that you might not be used to if you don't hit the highways a lot. You know, and the rev range becomes different. All in all, I couldn't be happier with this engine. And you know, I know all the Harley guys know this stuff, but Harley doesn't seem to do a good job promoting like just what their bikes do well. And these engines, guys, are absolutely made for the touring, because what you get is all the capability you need to pull weight without any slowdown, to pull a person in your gear without any slowdown, with all the acceleration you need. But you get that, also that visceral feel that you're not on a couch. Like it doesn't seem to ride like a couch. It looks like a couch on two wheels. It doesn't have a couchy feel to it. The shocks don't, the engine doesn't. And I think that's why people keep coming back. You know, they buy a Harley touring bike, and you talk to them about it, and they're talking to you about the Harley touring bike they had 3 bikes ago. They keep coming back for these engines because they really are just that good. And if you look at the segment and you look at people that have tried to copy it or emulate it, it doesn't go well for them, because they've just been doing this for a very, very long period of time. And I imagine that I don't imagine you. If you look at my site, you'll see I've ridden the midweight Harleys, you know, with these same engine in it on a bike that weighs 110 pounds less. It's quite ridiculous, like how hard they throw that bike around, because Harley's midweight bikes are heavyweight bikes for everyone else. So that's my take on it. I'm sticking to my story. This is your boy G. Thanks for putting up with me on my first ride back, vlogging, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.